the moment you come to something like astrology, the moment you come to something like palmistry, immediately a lot of frauds come up, no?
Sure, sure. That is the issue.
Immediately a lot of frauds come up.
Hmm.
And now, talking about today, we will never know, because the time these kind of science originated, we do not have documents for that.
Hmm.
Clinical science came up much later, and that's why we have documentation. So when
Hmm.
people say that is this scientific, is this not, the question is wrong, because the concept of science has not, it's much later from this. We don't know the origin.
Since a time immemorial, humans have had this innate existential curiosity to know about their character and aspect of life. Palmistry, or also known as ceremoniously, is one of the means many opt to know more about themselves. It is intriguing how all this thing works. So for this case today, I am with Anushree Gupta, who will walk us through the world of palmistry. Anushree Gupta is a singer, songwriter, performer, and palmist. She also hosts a podcast by the name The Artistic Mystic, where she shares knowledge of palmistry and talks about her book Around My Head, which she publishes in a form of video format on YouTube. So welcome and thank you for agreeing with me to talk.
Hi, Egom. Really great to be here. Thank you for having me. A few more things. I am a palmist, and I have been passionate about uh, this branch of occult science from a very, very young age. But at that time, when I kept trying to research and do my R&D, I was too young to grasp the depth and the layers that this huge subject of palmistry entail. I was not
Mhm.
mature enough, but that didn't deter me from going after it. But I was also very caught up with my education, with my studies, and I was quite a bookworm. So education did keep me very busy, other than music. But I kept coming for it. Even during my college days, I kept studying as much as I can. I kept taking guidance from people who are experts in this field as much as I could. But again, I couldn't do it consistently. Finally, when I started being a professional, when I became a singer, and I had my own time also that I could carve out, because I'm my own boss, the kind of job I do. So the time I get, the time I get for myself when I'm not writing my music or not singing, not performing, I
Mm.
dedicate that. I dedicated that to keep studying and studying and studying. And eventually I started reading palm. And for the last 4 years, I'm doing it professionally under my venture Palm Scope. Actually, my clients who benefited a lot, I'm so humbled by that. They benefited a lot, and they inspired me to do something with it professionally. And actually, they pushed me to
Mhm.
make my presence felt on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, to make pages and to put it out there. There are a lot of feedbacks of my clients and everything. They are actually the ones who told me that you're true to it and you're good at it, and we have benefited humongously from your remedies and from your counseling. You must reach out to people and you must put it out there. So that's what I did.
Mm.
And yes, I wrote a book. I wrote it during the pandemic times, and it's called Around My Mind. And I never wrote it thinking, oh, I'm going to publish it. No, because when I think like that with a very poor outcome, I think like that for music because that's my profession. But when I do something else, I don't think like that. I wanted to write. There was a lot bottled in me, and I travel a lot. So obviously, I keep observing, and I'm a songwriter, right? So writing comes very naturally to me. My background is journalism. I did my postgrad
Oh.
in journalism. So obviously, writing is a huge part of my creative expression. So that's what I think led me, and of course, the pandemics make you go crazy, and writing helped,
Mhm.
and all of that put together gave birth to my book. And whole of last year, I kept thinking how to put the book out. And then I thought, just forget about it, forget about so much of overthinking. Let me just put it out on a platform. And that is when came in the Artistic Mystic, my YouTube
Mm.
channel, where I'm presenting the book to my readers in the form of a podcast where I uh, read out the chapters from it's a 11 chapter book, I'm on the seventh chapter, I think. Few more to go, and
Yeah.
then maybe I'll come to my next book, which I have already started writing. Yeah, that's that. And of course, other than my book reading, also I put out a lot of palmistry connected,
Mm.
palmistry related content that would benefit my viewers.
Yeah.
It's just
So
started. It's been, I think,
yeah.
2 months.
So let's begin with like technical terms. So how do you understand palmistry for lay people to understand? How do you define it? Yeah.
Palmistry is the is the study,
Mm.
is a very thorough and a very extensive study
Mm.
of every aspect of a person's palm,
Mm.
starting from the texture to the muscle tone to the color tone to the nails. Then comes the lines, the mounts,
Mhm.
and other aspects of the palm.
Mm.
Everything has to be cross-checked, unlike some uh, you know very shallow information that he keeps doing rounds on YouTube and internet. This line means this, that line means that. No, it doesn't work like that. One
Mm.
information on one line has to be cross-checked with at least four other information at four other mount points or lines, or some other part of the palm. So it's not that easy. It's a proper discipline. It has a method to it. You
Mhm.
cannot just it's not it's not so it's not something to play around with. You
Mhm.
have to be very true to it. And as a palmist, I take this very seriously, because this is not Star Wars, right? Real
Mm.
people come to me with real problems. So I have to give it that weightage and that respect. And I can only do that with absolutely proper research and proper education in the field. And that's what I
Mhm.
kept doing. That's
So,
what I kept doing. That's I kept honing my skills as a palmist, and it's helping me, of course.
so do you have a background of that, like educational studies on that? Do you have any
No,
degree?
my profession as a musician didn't allow me,
Okay,
but
okay.
that didn't stop me from constantly taking guidance from experts who are palm experts. I, of course, started with books. I
Mm.
started with books, but I understood that a 2D picture will
Mhm.
never give me a real. There is. I think I made a video about this on my,
Mhm.
the Artistic Mystic channel as well. That the problem I faced personally when I was in
Mhm.
the process of learning
Mhm.
is that uh, I read, I don't know, at least 25 books to
Mhm.
begin with. After that, I went into taking advice from palm experts and
Mhm.
astrologers, and who are very good at their craft and palmistry. I took guidance from them, because that's where you get real. You get proper inspiration and information, right?
Mhm.
But the problem is, I of course understood I need to study real palm to get good at it. But the
Mhm.
moment I was looking at someone's palm, they thought I'm reading it. This is like
Mhm.
early years, when I was, and they didn't understand that I needed to study.
Mhm.
I I haven't gotten it yet. So
Mhm.
that kind of was a little funny, but that didn't stop me either. I'm a go-getter that way. And I kept collecting palm images, and pictures of palm, and of palm in person when I met people who I could confide in. And I kept studying, and then, yeah, that's how it started. And now, of course, I'm doing it a lot.
So is it hereditary? Like it's very much a common practice among Hindus. It's an actually these palmistry are very much
See,
popular among Hindus and particularly among South Indians, particularly the
hmm,
caste like what
hmm.
this Kavaran, Kuravan caste, right? So it's very popular among them. So is it an hereditary or just
See,
an influence that you have?
for me,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
nobody.
Nobody, no
My
background.
family is from a very normal middle class service background, with
Mm.
a lot of love for music, dance, and theater.
Yeah, yeah.
A typical Bengali family, I would say. I've not grown up, but I was from a very young age. Apart from music, I was always intrigued. As I told you, I started my quest
Mm-hmm.
when I was in class 7 or 8, which is not a time when kids do that. But I was a little weird, also, to be honest, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But uh, psychic science, whatever you call it, occult, or the other side of science, always intrigued me. So
Mm-hmm.
no, for me, it was not about something that came through generations or something that was handed to me. It was not at all like that. My parents have no clue why it came to me or why I got inspired in the first place. And as far as the origin is concerned, see, there is a lot of argument because we have to understand one thing. We have to understand one thing, Hegom, that there was a time when things were not getting documented because even documentation is a process that happened at a certain time. People also understood, okay, we have to document, right? So palmistry is a very, very old discipline, which you can go back to basically, I would say, like 7654, 7 to 4th century BC. That is the time when actually it originated. Arguably, still, I wouldn't say it's the proper, but the kind of activities that were going around based on the study of palm that had started during 350 BC. Sorry, like 7th to the 4th, I would say. That's to my knowledge. But it kept getting revived because what happened is the moment you come to something like astrology, the moment you come to something like palmistry, immediately a lot of frauds come up, no?
Sure. That is the issue.
Immediately a lot of frauds come up. And now talking about today, we will never know because the time these kind of science originated, we do not have documents for that. Clinical science came up much later, and that's why we have documentation. So when people say that is this scientific, is this not, the question is wrong, because the concept of science has not, it's much later from this. We don't know the origin. We don't know the origin when this came about. So when the original scriptures are gone, it's not that the Vedic astrology or Vedic palmistry have all the information protected or it's in pristine form. And no, we have lost it all, right? That's the reason why we say that we don't know, right? But that is the reason. The reason is not this is fake or this is not. And I am myself a skeptic by nature. I'm not a person who is like, oh my God, I'm not. I'm not very, but
religious.
That is not. I'm not. I'm kind to people. I'm very consciously kind to people. If I have not been kind, I apologize because that's the right thing to do. But the thing is, what attracted me to palmistry. I'm digressing a bit. I'm sorry about that. What attracted me was the sheer fascination of the subject. I didn't care if it's true or not. I wanted to study it. I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I wanted to get good at it. I wanted to know about it. And that's it. So today for me, if somebody asks me, is it true? I don't care. I have learned. So I'll apply my learning to you. You see if it works or not. And so far, my clients are very happy. So I'm happy. I look at it that way. As far as the origin is concerned that you were talking about, as I said, it's like goes back to like 7th or 4th century, but it kept getting revived. And I would say, if I'm not mistaken, should be 18th century. Yeah, 17th century. 17th century, I would say, is a very pivotal point of modern palmistry, because that is the time when it started getting, how do I say, used in a lot of the then corporate structure, appointing officers, appointing colonels, appointing your, like, you must know this, it's a folklore, Alexander the Great, right?
Yeah.
He used palmistry. He did use palmistry.
He was interested in...
Yes. He used palmistry in, appointing his people, his officers. A lot of, I think, very eminent people, like a lot of scientists, a lot of philosophers, authors, Mark Twain, Oscar Wilde, they have all been very reverent of palmistry, right?
Alexander was also very much... Alexander was also very much fascinated with yogi, and that is why he came actually in India. One of the reasons why he came actually.
Exactly. And so did Kiro come to India. The father of palmistry. He did come to India, and he got accepted and respected for his expertise only after he came to India.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of acquired the knowledge. I'm not telling India is great or anything, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
it's beautiful.
Mm.
But what I'm saying is that revival had started happening, the arguments had started coming up. And I think the very fact that such questions are asked is because of a lot of information that has been lost because how old it is.
Mm-hmm.
We
I,
will never know, but that shouldn't stop us from learning.
I agree to that. That's why astrology or this palmistry is considered to be like pseudo-science, like because it's claimed to be scientific, but then it doesn't have the
Yeah, but
systematic kind of
pseudo, the word.
hypothesis. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they use this
yeah,
term and then they have the
the
argument for that. Yeah. But then we can, as you said, like
right.
in a process of time, the documents were lost. And even if you, actually I have my background on philosophy and religion. I also have history,
Mm,
so I read a lot of that. And then you also find that actually the book, if you are, I mean, if you read Bible, even in the Bible, it talks about palmistry. And
yes, of course.
yeah, but
There
the
was a time when
yeah,
Christianity was they were I think banning palmistry, and again there was a time when they accepted it. So they have also gone through their own fair bit
yeah,
of
yeah, revivalism
because
took
but
place.
there was a reason. There was a reason because of a lot of questionable activities, a lot of immoral activities, and fraud
Mm-hmm.
happening in the name of dark sciences, or I won't call it dark, or
Mm-hmm.
psychic sciences. Because all of that was happening, that's why there were a lot of backlash.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true. It does happen. It
It
does
does
happen.
have.
I on my Palmscope page, Hegom, I get at least I don't know 10, 15 messages every week of
Mm-hmm.
recommend this stone, recommend that stone company. I'm not gonna do that because I
Mm-hmm.
don't recommend stones only to my clients.
True, true.
Not because I don't believe in stones, because I don't know if the stone they'll get is authentic or not. So people who are coming to me troubled, I'll make them spend again lakhs of rupees for something that might be fake.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me. I can give them
Mm-hmm.
remedies that doesn't cost them a penny.
Mm-hmm.
Simple Vedic, remedies, which if they do sincerely, they'll be they will see how their life is changing, how they're becoming more introspective and conscious, and how the obstacles are getting removed, and how they're
Mm-hmm.
going towards it. They can experience it themselves. Why will I give them a stone if I can't even authenticate it?
True,
If I
true.
can't even say that no, it's the real one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can see that there's a reason why there was so
Mm-hmm.
much of backlash because till
Yeah.
now whole lot of people are fake. They're really playing with people's emotions and people's vulnerabilities. There are clients, who come with financial trouble, legal trouble, marriage trouble, disease, and ADHD, and so many things. And I cannot do that. I
Mm-hmm.
you have to give it the value it deserves and give them the best analysis, the best counseling that they should get. Yeah.
It's not only in the field of palmistry, but even in the name of religion, because people are emotionally
Yes.
attached with belief system. And then, if you have some, we call it this spiritual blackmail, if I have to term it. People are so much. Karl Marx, I think you know Karl Marx, right? So Karl Marx have
Yeah.
also
Of course I
stated
do.
like religion is an opium of masses, because like people
Yes.
are so much attached with belief system, they're blind. And when
Hmm.
you got some scriptural
Uh,
passage and then give them something, they will always be willing
hmm.
to pay. Most of the time it takes place. So I'm not saying that all the religion teaches that, but it is some people or certain group of people who do that and then make money out of that. So yeah, it's not a new thing. Yeah.
See, the religion,
Mm.
I have seen, I look at it a little differently. Uh, Religion, if it was not tampered with, it would have
Mm.
been just like another accessory we have in our lives. It's
Mm.
there, you follow it, you don't follow it.
Mm.
You're not harming anybody. You're not doing fine, do it.
Yeah.
If it was like that, but the problem is it got used as a weapon. Now,
Hmm.
when can you use something as a weapon? When people are fool enough to fall for it,
Yeah.
right?
We,
If
we
you can
weaponize it. Yeah.
use Hinduism or Islam or Christianity or whatever, ABC, if you can use it to divide people, then if it's possible means people fell for it. The weapon was stronger than people. Number two, that it's not so much of a reality as much as media projects. Because it's a well-known fact. I'm a student of journalism. I have had access to n number of documentaries where we have seen that, there are people from the same religion who have been sent to act as if they are fighting so that they can project it as a Muslim fight. It was not even real. Because in your real life, have you ever seen being hateful towards anybody else? No, none of us are. Who is doing it? So it's also projected by the media because it's very easy for the politicians and for the administrators and to run it that way when people keep kind of hating each other. But it doesn't serve us. It's stupid to even follow it. So that's a number two is that for me, when religion becomes harmful is when you pursue anything that is extreme. Anything, if you say God is a Hindu God, the real God is a Hindu God, extreme, there will be violence. Somebody says there is no God, there is no God, again extreme, they will also exploit people. You see People's Republic of China, right? No God, no God, no God, no God. They are all exploiting people, left, right, center. In parts of India where it's like very, very religious parts of India where it's not, it's little less on the unity side and more on the religious identity side, there is violence. So it's not about the God or no God. If anything is being used as an extreme format and being imposed on you as the desirable lifestyle, it will cause violence, it will cause exploitation to people, because that is the intention behind it. If somebody is saying don't believe in God, but they're saying believe in me, why? Let's not believe in anything. So obedience is being constantly asked out of you in the name of sometimes God and in the name of sometimes no God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think we should be absolutely okay. All I say is say there is a God. Fine, no, there is. Say there is no God. If tomorrow it gets discovered anyway, how does it affect my life? I don't mind there being a God or there not being a God, because I'll be just me. So I think we should use our acumen and our cognitive wealth on things that are more important, like maybe if we can contribute to healthcare, if we can contribute to taking care of our elders, taking care of the community, and be at our creative best, write well, talk well. I think that, how does it matter what else is there or not there, right? That's how I look at it, at least.
So that is why the study came up, like phenomenology. Like if anything is making meaning out of it, I think you pursue it for it, because everyone gets meaning in a different context and with different things, right? So I think that is what,
right.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenology has come up with that approach in things. Yeah.
This topic will be like long if we keep talking about this. This will never end.
So let's go to this. If you can tell us different signs or meaning from our palm, how do you interpret? Like what does thumb signify or things like that?
Okay, I have to be very careful here because the millennials, they kind of jump to conclusions with very half-baked. It breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. Not everybody, but a lot of people just, because if I tell you, then they'll just take that bit of information that I spoke about for half an hour here, and then, they'll think, okay, this is right and this is right. So let me put it this way. This is our palm. There are information on these 4 mounts. There are information here, and these 3 lines are the major lines. There are many supporting lines. There are many supporting lines that will also give us an information. Say, for instance, if we have the fate line here going towards Saturn, if it's a career line, and if it looks smooth and there is a break, for example, we cannot just say it's a break. We cannot just say that, oh, your career will be over when you're 32. No, we have to, for example, immediately cross-check the person's headline, because that will give me the information about his emotional and psychological elasticity, the strength to handle a crisis. I have to cross check it with the lifeline to see if there was any health damage in that timeline. So it's very difficult to just say this means this. I mean, it's very foolish to say.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't demean palmistry to that point. So that's why I'm giving you an example.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, if I say that I see a person having a long life, and I see a person having an excellent say business information about good business opportunities, right? The Mercury also gives a lot of information about that. But then I see a very strong addiction line. And I see by 35, 36, there is a downfall. What do I tell the person? That you have good business? No, I'll tell you business is fine, but all the money won't matter if you keep pursuing addiction. Because that is a disease, that is a trait. The substance is not the problem. Addiction is the problem. So that will keep changing. If a person does not have a core spiritual awakening, then addiction will just transfer from one thing to another. It can be, it can be drugs today. It can be food tomorrow. It can be shopping tomorrow. It can be anything. It can be endless. So there are too many things. I cannot tell a person that this means this means that. If it was that easy, then we all could have become
true.
palm readers. Yes.
If I would like to narrate this story. My mom, she used to read palm, and when I was growing up, and some of my friends, and we thought it's just very naive kind of things, very ancient kind of things. Then I did not take any importance. But now, as I matured and as I get myself educated, and as I read through all those, actually, it was there. It's just that we were ignorant, and then we have never did a scientific study on that. That is the reason I think I've been very ignorant. But now, I wanted to know, ask my mom, how did she really? Actually, my mom did not go to school, and she just get this idea. I don't know how did she get it, but she never go to school.
Okay. It has nothing to do with school, technically.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of an approach.
Just that we never studied palmistry, maybe like scientifically. People are now waking up, and then we are having a particular discipline for that also. It's a good thing. So let's talk about your music career. How did you start, and if you would like to tell me a little bit about that.
Music for me started from when I was 4. As a practitioner, of course. I got trained in Hindustani classical music from Allahabad Gharana. I studied music for 15, 18 years. And of course, it was a lot of classical music and Ravindra Sangeet that I learned. But along with that, I was always passionate about writing my own songs, because I always wrote. I write every day. And I kept writing my music, and then I did my grads and postgrads, and I was very academically inclined as well. So I prioritized my education and did not think of taking up music as a profession right away after class 12 or something. I did my graduation. I did my postgrad. After that, I got into music, and we formed a band. And we kept playing. We kept playing music. We signed deals with records, and we came up with our music videos, and we traveled the country and beyond playing our music. It was very natural. It just flew. It kept flowing very naturally.
So what are the genres you play, or how do you put yourself in a category of?
I play other than I would say a lot of my originals have a very urban soundscape, very modern soundscape, a lot of electronica and rock and pop. But at the same time, I'm like, I can take the shape of the bowl as an artist, because my roots are very, very earthy. I'm a very root-driven person. So for me, my love is folk music, other than my originals. It's like I cannot, for me, folk, it's not just about the music. I like folk as an essence. Like even art forms, I like folk art. I like bihu geet. I love Nagamis music. Doing music, it's just an extension of my personality. I like to put worlds together. I play with a guitar. So I'm not very genre specific, Also, in our live shows, we go through many soundscapes. We start very slow, sometimes very soft with the guitar, and then we kind of completely rock it out hard with complete, folk fusion and folk rock and stuff like that. So I'm not genre specific, but yes, folk undeniably is a very integral part of my musical identity.
Is there any artist in particular that has inspired you?
Oh my God. Any?
Yeah,
There are thousands and
okay.
thousands and thousands of artists who have
Yeah, if you can name them
inspired
one.
me. It's impossible to. I'll just take few names that are coming. I don't know. I love. I love the Indian classical community. Who have had amazing flute players and singers, and also, the other side like Farida Khanum or people like that. Then I love the Velvet Underground. I love the 70s rock and roll music. I love Beatles. I love
Beatles.
Keb Mo. Keb Mo is one of my favorite R&B artists. I love Amy Winehouse. Lots. I don't know. I mean, I love Anushree from Bangladesh. It's very, as you can see, I'm like, I'm very fusion by, I can listen to a Tool song, then an Opeth song, then an Indian classical song, then a Kishore Kumar song. I listen to all of that because I have something I take from there for every song. But yes, Opeth definitely a band I love, the folk metal band. I completely love that. Yes. So lots of music, yeah. It can be Bangla, it can be English, it can be. There is a beautiful band. The front, I don't like the word front man. The singer of the band died of OD. Unfortunately, he was amazing. It's called the Tribal Rain. It's a Gangtok band. They played original music in Nepali, and you must check them out if you haven't already. I was at Gangtok performing, and there is where I discovered their music. The Tribal Rain, the band's name is, and I fell in love with them. They are amazing. So,
like, how has music helped you, or how music has really helped you, or what does music mean?
Music has helped. Music made me a very calm person. Music made me kind and empathetic and beautiful. I was not a good kid, When I was a child, I used to hit people, and I didn't have the composure that I should have had. And music actually calmed the hell down. Music gave me intelligence. Music gave me common sense. It helped me gather myself, be good at my studies, be good at my words, be good in my uh, interpersonal skills. And it was a huge social catalyst because it brings people together, right? So it has helped me in endless number of ways. I'm very grateful to music, actually. Else, I would have been somebody else.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been a big fan of who I would have been otherwise.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
I like myself a lot because of music. Yes, so that's what it has done for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice catching up with you. Like, it was.
Same here, likewise. I love talking to you too.
I didn't expect that we will go in depth with our conversation, but it was nice already.
Yes, it was great.
With different.
It was great for me too.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you one last question before we end our conversation. So what is the one question you want to leave for the next guest?
So how does he or she define self-love? What is it? Because I don't really get it. Because if it's love, it's love. For me, I understand love as something to give. And of course, self-love, it's by default there. We don't need to keep talking about it, because when we keep talking about it, we are eventually becoming obsessed with ourselves to the point that we don't care about anyone. So is it getting too marketed? How do they define self-love? I would love to know that from someone else too.
Okay. Yeah, great question. I hope the next guest will able to answer that question.